The JavaScript developer ecosystem is an absolute nightmare that needs to be simplified. If proven true, Bun is setting itself up to be the JavaScript ecosystem killer. But whether or not it survives is up to engineers like you and me to endorse it by using it. Whenever new software arises, great engineers ask 3 questions. How much time can I save? Will this help me solve my problems? What are the trade-offs? In this video, we aim to answer these questions. Today, we're using Bun to learn Bun. So first things first, go ahead and install Bun. I've already got Bun installed here. Let's go to a new directory. We're just gonna run bun init. All right, so it's created some files for us. Let's go ahead and open up VS Code. Looks like we have a basic application, a package, a README with some basic instructions. Let's go ahead and follow these. We're gonna run bun install. Let's go ahead and install some packages that we're going to need to use to build the prototype application that we're building today. We're gonna install Cheerio, Axios, and Figlet. Kick off the application. Looks like bun run index.ts gets us there. Nice, hello via bun. So let's check out that index file, and we just have a console log. Right away, just by running this command, you can see that there's several processes completely removed from the JavaScript stack, right? TS node is gone, transpiler is gone, and using bun, we also installed our dependencies. So far, so fantastic. The fewer tools you have to use to solve your problem, the faster you're gonna be able to solve your problem because you're not gonna be context switching. What are we doing here? What are we gonna build? I wanna build a tool that helps us learn and build out examples directly from the bun documentation. So let's go to guides. And what I want to be able to do is, for instance, we have read a JSON file with bun. This application is going to accept a URL from bun. We're going to paste it in a CLI command. We want to copy all the relevant text from this page using a web scraper. Then we're going to use our favorite AI engineering tool right now, AIDER. If you haven't seen the previous AIDER videos, definitely check those out. I highly recommend these videos. Jump into that. I'm not going to harp on that too much here in this video, but we're going to use AIDER to help us build out examples that we can theoretically directly just run with Bun. So let's get into it. Set up a basic main function. We're going to call main. A couple functions here. We're going to do parse env, parse CLI args. And we're in TypeScript. Let's go ahead and create some types, right? Create a types.ts file. We're gonna do a envvars, and then we're gonna do CLI vars, right? And in envvars, let's go ahead and have a memory variable, and I'll explain all this when it becomes relevant. And then in CLI vars, we're going to accept a URL here. So let's go ahead and write URL, and that's gonna be a string, perfect. So let's create the .env, memory, /. So there's going to be a directory that we write that's going to store all the contents of the file so that we can use AIDER to read it and generate examples for us. So we're going to do that, and then let's go ahead and create one more. We'll call it examples. So perfect, it's going to be examples, and then we'll go ahead and add that here. Great. So let's go ahead and see if we can read these environment variables using Bun. Set up types. Import, let's return. And then let's set up our variables and go ahead and print them out. Let's close types, and let's go ahead and just run this basic example and see if we get our env and CLI. Bun run index.ts, and we're gonna pass in this URL. Fantastic. So as you can see there, we pass in a CLI arg, comes in parameter 2 right here. And we have our environment variables pulled out from our .env files. We didn't need to import a library as we normally had to. More points for Bun. So far, it's allowing us to do more in less time, less configuration, less setup. Let's go ahead and continue building our application. So I'm gonna go ahead and use Figlet to generate just kind of like a top level message. Okay, it looks like that was too much text. There we go, Bun, the JS eco killer. All right, so let's collapse and open up main and start working on our URL parsing functionality. So what we're gonna do is create a function here called scrape. We're gonna pass in a URL and it's gonna give us back a raw string content. Raw HTML equals scrape, and we do cli.url. This is gonna be pretty simple, do try catch. All right, so now we're gonna use Axios to scrape the website's content. We're gonna do response, await, Axios.get URL, return response.data, and let's go ahead and make sure we have an error here. And we're gonna do or undefined, make the function async, of course, and that's going to allow us to scrape website content. Let's go ahead and just quickly run this. Make sure you have the await scrape. Okay, fantastic. So it looks like we got a bunch of HTML content back, and if we just copy all this, dump it somewhere, and search for something, let's search for, let's see, git dependency. Fantastic. So we did scrape this URL. Obviously, there's a lot of noise here. We want to parse this down into just the content we're looking for, right? We're looking for maybe the header, and we're looking for the example. So we can feed this into our AI tool, AIDER, and it can generate full examples for us. Build that functionality out now in our script to continue testing Bun and see how far we can push this. Now we're gonna get some formatted HTML, and we're gonna do await, and we're gonna do parse elements. And we're gonna pass in the raw HTML. This may not need to be async, but we'll find out. Raw HTML, string, and we'll also get back a string from this functionality. Then we're going to look at specific blocks of content that we want to read. So if we come in here, looks like we're going to want to read the H1, and we're going to want to read the code block. So let's go ahead and set up our whitelist for that. Whitelist elements, H1, and let's go ahead and do H2s as well, and then we'll do .code block. Parse the HTML, look for these elements, and return some type of string we can use to save to a file so that we can have our AI tool AIDER read that file and generate full examples for us. I don't want to waste your time. I'm going to speed through this a little bit. All right, fantastic. So this is our parse elements function. Don't worry about the details here too much. Basically, we're taking a bunch of HTML, recursively looking through and matching our H1s, H2s, and the code block, which corresponds with the content on the page that we want to parse. Let's clean up our function and make sure that we pass in some content here. And then let's see what we get from our formatted HTML. All right, so if we copy our content here and we just paste it in a new file, do a little bit of inspection, you can see that we have our H1s and we have all the content within the H1. So that's exactly what we wanted. And then we're gonna have our code block right here. So we also have all the content that was in our code block. And you can see here, if we just copy a little bit of this file.type, hop over to the website, you can see here that file.type is indeed in that code block div. So this is great. Now we're going to take this content and write it to a file. So let's look at Bun's documentation for how we do that. So here's how to read a file. All we want to do is write. So let's look for that. Okay, so it looks like this is it. So write a response to a file. So we're going to take a path and just write to it. So this is super simple. It looks like Bun has this rolled in. I'm not even going to create a new function for this just because it's so straightforward. So let's also generate a name for the file. So we'll do file name. This is going to be the memory for our AI agent. So let's go ahead and pull in that env variable. And let's do a little bit of parsing on the URL that we pass in to generate a file name from that. So you can see here we passed in bun.sh guide /read. So let's go ahead and get a file name from that. So I'll say file name here. We'll change this to file path, cli.url. We're going to do a slice -2 And then we'll do a join here. I'm gonna split first. Split on slashes, and then we'll grab the last two elements. That's gonna be read file and JSON, and then we'll have it here. Dump that in, and then we'll just call it a, we'll just do a .text, probably could do a .html file. We'll throw that here, we'll throw the formatted here. We'll await this response, and we will just do a simple console log, completed bun memory file. Great. So let's go ahead and run this on our read file /JSON page. So this should read just the important contents we need for our AI agent to understand how to generate examples. Let's go ahead and run this. All right, so we got bun.write, no such file or directory. Let's go ahead and generate some folders here. So we got memory, and then we're gonna have examples. Make sure that's right. Memory and examples, great. Okay, completed bun memory file. So it looks like we should have a read file JSON.text. Let's see if that's true. And as you can see, we do indeed have that. We can change the file mode here. Let's do HTML, and you can see here we have all the content we wanted. Parse, there's some extra junk in here, but that doesn't matter too much. The underlying model is gonna be GPT-4, so it'll parse through all this. Okay, so now we have a cool little application here that tests out Bun's capabilities. Now let's open up our favorite AI engineering tool, AIDER, and let's generate some full examples we can run so that we can learn Bun faster with AI. Check this out. I'm gonna export my OpenAI key. I'm gonna run git init. I'm gonna commit all these files with an empty commit. And then I'm gonna open up AIDER. Again, check out the AIDER videos. They're really incredible. People really are enjoying them. I'm gonna do more videos on AIDER and other AI tools that help you write code faster and get more done quickly. For now, we're just gonna keep rolling, and when we have our core application ready, we can read URLs, copy the content into our code base, and now we can use AIDER to use these files as active memory, and then take the active memory and build full case examples. So how do we do that? Let's add. We're gonna say memory, read file, JSON.text. So now AIDER has this in its active memory, and we can now say the following: read and generate a functioning to read files using Bun or the example directory and place it in a TS file. All right, so got a little weird error here. Go ahead and ignore that. Let's just let Bun rip, and you can see here it read that file and it is generating a full complete example for us. It's asking if we want to allow the creation of this file. Of course, we're going to hit yes. Add this file to Git as well. We're going to go ahead and say yes. And now let's go ahead and take a look at that file. And as you can see, it generated a full example for us. A couple things that missed. It just copied the path directly. Let's go ahead and just update this, right? We can just go directly to our package.json file. It imported Bun because it doesn't know that Bun is in the main namespace. Totally fine. We'll just get rid of that. Now let's test out some more functionality of Bun. We should just be able to run this TS file, right? This is a fully functioning self-contained example. Let's see if that's true. I'm gonna open up a new terminal here. Bun, examples, read. And as you can see, this example read our package.json file, pulled the JSON out of it in JSON form, and dumped the contents and the type. So you can see we have application JSON and we have our actual package.json file. So this is really cool, right? Kind of a nice combination of two worlds. We have AI generating code for us, and we're exploring a brand new tool, Bun, and utilizing its core value proposition, which is a all-in-one cohesive JavaScript ecosystem. Let's generate a couple more examples to show off the flexibility of our script here. Okay, so let's find something else we want to do. Okay, this is kind of a cool one. Let's check if two objects are deep equal to each other. So Bun has this deep equals function. We could just copy this in. We could do this all manually. We're not going to do that. We built out this tool to do that for us. So let's copy the URL, open up our editor, type bun, run index, drop in that URL, and let it rip. Great. Completed Bun memory file. Let's go ahead and open that up. And as you can see here, it generated those examples for us. Let's go ahead and validate by just searching for deep equals. Bam, deep equals. Fantastic. Let's jump back to AIDER. I'm going to go ahead and git ignore my AIDER files. Great. And then let's go ahead and stage and commit. Just going to do another empty commit. And now let's go ahead and add our new memory file. Util deep equals.text. Great, now we have that in our memory. Let's check our token usage. We do have a lot of memory in right now. We have 3K, we have 1K from the read file json.text. AIDER, is limited by the context of the model, which is GPT-4 in this case. I'm gonna go ahead and just blow away the memory read file.text just to get our memory usage down a little bit so we're not loading up a huge bill from OpenAI. So let's go ahead and do drop, and we're gonna drop the memory file json.text. Perfect, remove that, gonna run another tokens test. That dropped us down to 3.8K, great. Let's go ahead and have AIDER generate a new fully functioning test where we can check if two objects are deep equal with bun. Read memory deep equals and generate dir with a example we can run bun on. Bun is in the global namespace, don't import. Go ahead and have it generate, and as you know, AIDER describes the change it's gonna make. It shows you exactly what it wants to do. It looks like it's generating this code right from the example. It's asking me if I want to allow the creation of the file, of course. Add it to Git, of course. And now that file has been created, let's go ahead and check out the example, deep equals with bun. And as you can see, it's got the bun functionality. Let's go ahead and let it rip. Bun, run, examples, deep. Bam. If we walk through this example, we can see that we have A and B, and the only result that returns true with deep equals is going to be this top value. The others are all false. And that lines up perfectly with our test. All right, so there's one more thing that I want to test out that I think is really important, and that is JavaScript testing. Let's see if Bun can really help us test faster and also can help us replace jest and vite. So let's generate one more fully functioning example with our rapid learning application. Let's go ahead and look for that and search test. Okay, so this looks good. So run test. So run test with the Bun test runner. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to copy this URL as we have before and run our rapid learning application on this. So we're just going to type bun, run, index, pass in the URL. It's going to write this file just as it has the previous ones. We can quickly check that out. Text run, you can see it's got a decent amount of content in it. Create an empty commit. Let's hop over to AIDER. Let's drop some files to keep our token usage low. All right, cool. So fresh AIDER instance here. We're going to add memory run tests.txt. And now I want it to generate a fully functioning test for us so that we can test out Bun's testing functionality. All right, so let's see how we can do this, right? So let's say read memory test run test.txt, a fully functioning testing functionality. And I'm just gonna type this again. Bun is in the global namespace, don't import. And let's see how it does. Okay, so it looks like it has a really simple describe, test, add, multiply test for us. I'm going to say yes, yes. It's going to apply that edit. Let's go ahead and look at that file, bun test example. All right, so it looks like it missed the file naming a little bit. So let's go ahead and improve the file name. So instead of bun test, we're going to do test.ts. And although we have some red here, I'm not going to worry about typing too much here. I'm sure there's a simple solution for that. I'm just going to go and type bun test. And okay, so honestly, guys, this is pretty incredible. We're just using the bun command everywhere. It picked up this bun.test, it picked up this bun test example.test.ts file, and it's just working. And obviously, this is a small isolated example, right? We started a new code base. You always have a huge advantage when you start a brand new code base. Let's acknowledge that. But all I've been doing is typing bun, 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 and it's incredible. I'm not context switching to webpack, to jest, to vite. I'm not loading up dotenv to parse environment variables. I didn't do anything fancy for the CLI arg. We have file writing, file reading kind of built in, and tons more in the guides. So pretty incredible. I got to say, taking a kind of first couple passes at this, I'm pretty impressed. It looks like there's a lot going on here. Is Bun the JavaScript ecosystem killer? My vote is on yes. Of course, this is just one example. It's super isolated and there's a lot more going on here and you really have to push and test this. So, that's what I'm gonna do. We're gonna see where this breaks down. Surely it breaks down somewhere. Just like that, we built out a really simple application, and also just wanna call this out. We did use both CommonJS and ES6 modules in the same file. If you've been coding for even just 5 years, you know that this has and was a really huge pain, and Bun just glossed over it for us, right? It's just abstracting away the problems, and that's what makes a great tool. You don't have to think about the unimportant work. So jumping back to the first 3 questions, how much time can I save using Bun? A lot of time. It's encapsulating the entire JS ecosystem in a single command called bun. Will it help you solve your problems? Yes. Existing tools will do that. It's looking like this will help you do it faster, right? And what trade-offs do you have to make to learn this tool? Surely you're going to need to check out some new documentation. You're going to need to migrate over to some of the Bun functionality if you want their performance improvements. But it looks like it's a drop-in replacement for Node. That's what they boast. They say it's mostly a, I think they said virtually somewhere, which, you have to take that with a grain of salt. But, the real selling point here for me is I am just bunning everything. You just bun, right? You call bun everywhere, and it's really incredible and honestly refreshing to not have to jump between 10 different tools that you don't care about. You only care about them because it helps you solve your problem, right? Since we've built this, we can kind of, boil down their landing page to a couple of really, really crucial points. Okay, so they have a bunch of built-in APIs. Good. They're going to be faster because they can rebuild them using the latest and greatest tech. Node is going to have a harder time with that because it has to support a ton of legacy users, right? The other technologies, they're slower. They have a lot more baggage. They have legacy code, right? That makes things run slower. You can't just update to the latest, greatest, coolest. That may be Bun's biggest advantage, right? It's kind of starting fresh. Faster APIs, fantastic. The speed is there. It's a nice to have, honestly. If the speed wasn't here, I would still be thinking about using it, right? Elegant APIs, just like we talked about, very good. But the real kicker here, the thing that should be attracting you to using Bun is this. This should not be the 3rd bullet point. This should be the header of the entire website. Cohesive DX, complete toolkit for JavaScript apps, package manager, test runner, bundler. This is the reason I will be using Bun. I will be trying Bun, I'll be testing it, I'll be seeing where its limitations are, I'll be looking for those trade-offs we're talking about, right? This is what it's all about, the DX. Let's not just talk about the good, right? We're software engineers. We can't fixate on just the good things, right? Let's talk about the risks. Honestly, I don't think it's a question of can Bun replace the JavaScript ecosystem. I think this can and should be done. And it looks like Bun is setting themselves up to do it. The red flag I'm seeing here is Bun is owned by a company called Oven. This is a VC-backed private company. Do you know what VC-backed companies want? One thing, money, right? So kind of a hidden risk here, but to me the biggest risk isn't that it won't work, it's that it does, replaces the entire ecosystem, and then sets up some cash grab scheme 5 years down the line when the whole JS ecosystem is in love with Bun. I'm not against private companies at all. I'm not saying it wouldn't be worth it to pay to make all these JavaScript problems go away. The JavaScript toolchain has so many problems, and again, it's just frustrating to work with. The DX has gotten so, fudged. I just wanted to call it out. To me, that seems like the biggest risk. I don't think that this is where their head's out. I think they probably understand that ecosystem risk and they don't want to create any type of lock-in like that. You would at least hope. But, just want to put that on your radar as you're thinking about trying this out, as you're looking through whether you want to spend your precious time learning a new software technology that may or may not work out. And even if it does work out, what are the trade-offs of that? I just want to call it out for you right now, right here. In less than an hour, we built out a brand new kind of rapid learning tool. Thanks to all the great Bun commands that we have, the unified JavaScript experience that Bun brings is really special. Thanks to that, we were able to set up a brand new application in almost no time, install dependencies, get some code out, and utilize AIDER to read the downloaded files to generate full-scale functioning examples, which were pretty incredible to see run by just running Bun on the file. So, my consensus is I'm going to be using Bun. Any new project script is going to have Bun behind it. I am going to be looking out for limitations. And of course, if I see any of those limitations, I'm going to let you guys know here on the channel. And just to kind of reiterate, what this channel is all about, I'm looking for functional, useful, non-hype trained technology I can use and I can share with you to help you accomplish your engineering goals, but also to help you get an edge in the age of AI that we're in. At the end of the day, software is about helping us solve problems. Feel free to like, sub, and join the journey. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Give it a like, sub. I'll see you guys in the next one.